Hello after day 5 of hiking the Pekoe Trail to spread the message that adventure prevents dementia and we can all boost our brain at any age or stage of life. When I went to bed last night, my legs felt like jelly. Literally, I have never experienced that before. And when I saw that I had an upstairs room and there was no elevator, only a steep flight of 20 stairs, I wanted to cry. I had to haul myself up by the stair railings because my legs had gone on strike. And when I realised I had to walk back down for dinner, I slid down the banister and hoisted myself back up after the meal. I'm not joking. And I thought, if this is how my legs are feeling in the morning, I won't be able to walk 3 kilometres, let alone the 32 kilometres planned for today. And I hoped against hope that a good night's sleep, and I have been sleeping incredibly soundly, despite the barking dogs, crowing roosters, squabbling macaque monkeys, and tooting tuk-tuks. I trusted that a good night's sleep would restore my legs to adequate functioning, which it did. However, I woke up with the worst vertigo, or vertigo, however you want to say it. Again, that's something I've never experienced before. The room was spinning. I felt like vomiting, and I couldn't walk from my bed to the bathroom without holding onto the bed, the cupboard, the sink, and whatever else was within reach. And it was the second time in 24 hours that I really wanted to cry. Given that that was not going to be a good option, I decided that instead I would sit on the bed, close my eyes, which didn't stop the dizziness, by the way, and I can't explain how the room was still spinning in darkness, but it was. And I sat there and did 5 minutes of breath work, specifically a technique known as cyclic sighing. And the way it goes is you breathe in as slowly as you can, you hold your breath, you breathe in a little bit more, that's the sigh bit, and then you breathe out as slowly as you possibly can. So it's breathe in, breathe a little bit more, and breathe out as slowly as you possibly can. And what that does is it simply stimulates the vagus nerve, which is our rest and digest nervous system, which is the opposite of the fright or flight. Now, this isn't known to treat vertigo, but it's a powerful way to lower anxiety and improve mood. And I just didn't know what else to do. But when I opened my eyes again, the spinning had stopped enough for me to be able to walk downstairs and get started on the trek. And after about 1 kilometre of simply focusing on putting one foot in front of the other, the dizziness had dissipated completely. And to my exhausted amazement, I managed to finish both stages 7 and 8, which covered a blistering 32 kilometres or 22 miles, from the town of Kotagala, deep in Sri Lanka's tea country, to the Boga Wanta Lawa Valley. That's the 6th time I've recorded my saying that name because it's so tricky to pronounce. In fact, I'm surprised that saying Boga Wanta Lawa hasn't made me feel dizzy again. Anyway, Boga Wanta Lawa is also known as the Golden Valley of Tea because of the unique characteristics of the tea produced here. Specifically, it has this dark coppery colour and a strong yet delicate flavour. And that's attributed to the valley's relatively cool climate, which is caused by its high altitude, 1,200 to 1,800 metres above sea level, which actually results in a slower growth rate for the tea plants. And the slower growth, combined with the valley's specific geographic attributes and weather patterns, creates a golden brew that is highly prized. So, we're up to the letter N in the acronym Adventures. What does N stand for? N stands for nature. Nature is our great healer and balancer. Spending time in nature isn't just a feel-good thing. It changes our brain and body chemistry. Firstly, trees produce chemicals called phytoncides, which lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and strengthen our immune system. And then you've got the aerobiome. You've probably heard of the microbiome, which is the trillions of bacteria that live inside our body, and most of them in our gut. But the aerobiome is all the bacteria and viruses and microorganisms that live out in nature, in the air. And they are friends with our microbiome and exchanging our microbiome with the aerobiome stimulates good gut health, which stimulates good brain health. So for our brain and body to stay healthy, we need to spend 17 minutes a day or 120 minutes a week in nature. It doesn't matter what, visit a park, a forest, a garden, your own garden, and enjoy it with all your senses. And the other thing is children who live closer to green spaces have a lower incidence of ADHD. But what I learned today was that you can do more than you think you're capable of. How? Let me quote Friedrich Nietzsche. He who has a powerful why can conquer any unknown how. In other words, if you have a big enough, compelling enough, powerful enough, emotional enough, motivating enough reason for wanting to achieve something, you'll find it in yourself to achieve it, even if at the outset you have no idea how. The goal of a goal is not just to achieve the goal. It's to become a better, stronger, wiser, more loving person in the process. What matters more than getting to the destination is the person you become in getting there. And who I became today is someone who knows that you, a human being, can be whatever they set their mind and heart to be. So I encourage you to think of the letter N as not only standing for nature, but for knowledge. I know that's a K, but it sounds like N. Knowledge that you can rise to the occasion, to whatever life asks of you, to whatever your healing journey requires of you. You can do it if it's important enough to you. And doing this trek to completion is that important to me because I'm doing it for you to know that you can boost your brain and make a tremendous positive difference to your own life. Don't believe anyone, be they a doctor, any health professional, well-meaning friend, or the media, if they tell you you can't improve your brain function, that it's too late, you're too far gone. It's not true. You most certainly can at any age or stage of life boost your brain. And it's never too early and it's never too late. It doesn't matter where you are in your brain health journey. Wanting to be proactive about brain health in general, working on regaining brain function after a traumatic head injury, or wanting to reverse a diagnosis of dementia, you can make a positive difference to your brain health. To quote Confucius, those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. So go and do it.